We picked out that chair that I talked about in the last video when we were doing the tripod review. My daughter here has picked out an adjustable shooting chair that really works for her and that I'm actually quite pleased about. I looked at a lot of chairs, folks. I sat in a lot of chairs. I checked out a lot of chairs. I literally spent probably 4 or 5 hours looking at different shooting chairs that would work, especially for women and younger people and people that are hunting and needed quiet and really able to work. This one checked off a lot of boxes, so let's see how it does. I'll have to keep you guys posted and put out a review after the hunting season and so forth. But we're going to break this one in now, all through spring and summer, shooting off it and getting used to it. This is one of the Summit adjustable shooting chairs, and it checks off a few boxes because of some things I really like. A lot of shooting chairs have big fat feet at the bottom, and then they've got like a big kind of flat roller bearing swivel in the middle of them, which is very difficult to lubricate. And that was a killer for me, because as I've seen those and sat in them in the stores, once they seem to be about 3 or 4 months old, or once they seem to get some rust or some snow or any type of weather in them, they seem to creak and squeak. This one does not. It's a pumpkin on a post style, which means it's actually very easy to grease this, lubricate it, and do stuff with it. Of course, it's got the fat feet, and it's got legs that are all adjustable. And with the legs being adjustable, you can kind of conform to the ground. You also can change the height of this product, which is good. Another thing that I really wanted in the chair was armrests, but I'm surprised at how many armrests came without padding, which means when you bump them with your buckle or a button or anything else, like a rangefinder or something, they make noise. She's just trying to learn how to kind of put this together. It's kind of a pumpkin on a post kind of thing. There's a little button on the side that has to be pushed in to get it on. And you know what? Sometimes that's a little tricky, and she's just got to figure it out. It actually takes a little bit more force the first couple times, but after having this now for a couple days, I can tell you it pops in and out a lot easier as you get used to it. Another thing I was looking for in this chair is the type of fabric. I wanted a fabric that when you moved on it, especially if you were using a very kind of thin, light clothing, it wouldn't make a lot of noise. So again, when you swivel it, I wanted that pumpkin on a post that you could grease and lubricate. But then when you had the fabric, I didn't want something so tough and rigid that it was like, I don't know what I want to call it, like a ripstop that you could hear the motion on. And this fabric was pretty soft. And then again, same with the armrests. I wanted them padded so that when you bump against them with something, it's not so difficult. Now, granted, you could always take foam from Menards or Home Depot and put it over the armrests and not have an issue. But I wanted it to work right off the out of the box, and versus me have to modify it right away. And then, of course, the last thing I was looking for is, what is the portability of this? Is it a chair that once it gets, a little bit old, looks like it has points of, nuts and bolts and rivets and stuff that are going to make it hard to fold up and hard to navigate? This one does not. Everything is easily accessible for like grease or silicone if you needed to spray it. And as I set her up here on that bog tripod that we bought, and she's starting to get used to it, we even found that there was a love of the armrests, the fact that they're adjustable. So if you're a smaller person like her, you can actually shrink the armrests down and get them out of your way, and have more rotational ability, which is great. So here she's just, again, learning the tripod a little bit there. Her ball joint there on top was loose, and the crossbow tipped on it. Nothing bad. She's just learning that next time before she does these kind of adjustments, she's probably got to get it locked down. As Tabitha works here to kind of figure out the seating of the chair and the tripod, this is just kind of the beginning phase. This is doing it in the warmth of the shop. From here, we're going to set her up in the blind, put the target out in front of her at 10, 20, 30, and 40 yards, and then even get her shooting out of the blind out of this chair. Get the height set right. Put her on grass, put her on sand, see if she can get the whole setup set up in a reasonable amount of time by herself. And then there'll also be the hiking it in and out of the ground blind. And that's going to need to be done too. We want her so that when she sets up in that blind stand, that she's able to do it all on her own. Here she's just kind of playing with what it feels like to swivel the chair and shoot. And I would recommend that she move the tripod as she moves the chair. But she's kind of learning it. She also could, if she had to make an extreme shot, take it out of the tripod quietly and then take her shot. And I think these are all options for her. She just has to make sure that she's not going to swing enough that she's going to hit the tripod like she just did there. So that's why it takes, especially with younger shooters or more naive shooters or new shooters to this kind of stuff, it takes a little time. I highly recommend, instead of just sitting on the, archery range and, shooting arrows and bolts down range at 20, 30 yards and making sure pins are right, that you actually practice the discipline that you're going to be in and the way you're going to be in it. So going out and buying her a chair, having her shoot from it, having her shoot from the tripod. The Bog tripod, I put out a video just like a week ago on it. Check it out. It's a good video. Is a good thing to do to make, your hunt a better success. Now here she's trying to take it apart, and she's just kind of figuring out how it works. But she gets it apart better here this second time. She's done this now 3 or 4 times. Everything is broken in and working easier, which makes it better. But now what she's doing here is she's kind of figuring out how to fold it up and how she's going to carry it. It's got directions too on how to do this, but it's Tabitha. She wants to do this with just kind of her own mindset, and that's fine too. The big thing about carrying it is, for us, is I need her to be able to carry this and the Bog tripod together so that she frees her up for her other shoulder to have her bag and her crossbow or her vertical bow, whichever one she's taking out into the field. So she really has to kind of work it, kind of putting it together in a way that she can manhandle 2 pieces of equipment to get it out to the blind stand. So that's something that I'm just kind of letting her wing on her own as she gets to feel it. It has a nice padded strap on it, folks, and it's fully attached. It isn't going to like break off. Now, it doesn't mean a squirrel or something won't chew it off, but it is completely attached. The weight on this, we weighed it. It's not the lightest. Without the legs, it's in that middle 12 to 14 pound range, depending upon how she set it on the scale. And you add the legs to it, it's pushing closer to that 18, 20 pound mark. And then you add the Bog death grip on the top of the Bog aluminum legs, and this particular setup is another 8 pounds. So literally, she's carrying 26 to 28 pounds out there to the blind stand, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what it is. So here she's decided maybe she's going to attach it on the top or maybe on the side of it. Anyways, she starts playing with it here, and she does get it figured out, and that's what I want her to do. I want her to take advantage of the fact that we're in the warm, we got months to figure this out, and we want to try to get used to it. I'm going to hope that, with her shooting probably 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week until spring, and then during summer, shooting probably 3 times a week, I'm going to be hopeful that we will probably be packing this up and moving it at least once each week so that she's that used to it. By the time she gets out to that stand, forgive the term, this thing's well worn in and broken. So there she is, almost, completely set on one side of her body to start learning how to make this hunt work. I like this chair. I think it's going to work out great, folks. Please like, subscribe, and follow along. We'll keep putting out great reviews like this.